So that takes us to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves that
they've made. You thought Sue Bird was going to sugarcoat it. Not a chance. She took one look at the Indiana Fever's title hype and said, let's pump the brakes, people. But don't get it twisted. She wasn't dismissing them. She was setting the record straight. Caitlin Clark's got the skills, no doubt, but rings aren't won on Twitter or by dancing on TikTok. Yeah, Angel Reese, we're looking right at you.
I think Natasha Howard certainly stands out. I loved playing with Tosh.
But you cannot say enough about
Tosh. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think, complements what Indiana is building.
But here's where it gets spicy. Sue didn't hold back. She didn't play it safe with some generic, the Fever might be good take, no. She went all in. Sue Bird, the walking, talking basketball encyclopedia. The woman with more championships than Angel Reese has made layups this season straight up, said the Indiana Fever are real title contenders.
They obviously, through trade, added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough. She's physically tough. She brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added Dewana Bonner, which really I think is the one that for most people took it to another level. So now you're like, oh, they're a contender.
Let that marinate for a second. Subbird isn't just any retired player throwing hot takes for clout. This is a 4-time NBA champion, 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and one of the smartest basketball minds to ever touch the hardwood. She's played against. Legends lead dynasties and knows exactly what it takes to win at the highest level. When Sue speaks, it's not for clicks, it's because she sees something everyone else is missing.
So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest.
And here's the thing, she's not just talking about Caitlin Clark. Sure, Clark's a generational talent, pulling up from the parking lot like it's nothing, breaking records like it's her side hustle. But if you think Sue is hyped just because of Caitlin, you clearly don't understand how her basketball brain works. Sue sees the bigger picture. She sees the foundation, a team that's been grinding, putting in the work. Even before Clark even signed that rookie contract. Imagine those seasons with barely any crowds that Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and Aaliyah Boston-Yard. But since Clark's arrival, that spark turned into a wildfire to you about
the experience, the champions that have been added to this one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think it's exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well.
Sue Bird doesn't throw around title contender like it's confetti. This is a woman whose entire career was built on smart decisions, on the court, off the court, with her words, with her passes. If she's telling the world that the Indiana Fever have something special, she's not guessing, she's warning you.
The biggest part of DB joining this team is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach of,
right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season.
Still short.
And it's going to be the team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does help.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, nothing's guaranteed. No one's handing out championships in February, but here's the part people are missing. Indiana isn't just a fun young team anymore. They're not here to develop. They're here to win, and that should terrify the rest of the league, because the scariest thing in sports isn't just talent. It's talent mixed with belief. It's a team with momentum. It's players who've been told, "You're not ready yet," and who respond with, "Actually, we are." S-Bird sees that belief brewing in Indiana. She recognizes it because she's lived it. She knows exactly how dangerous it can be.
Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlin continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record.
Now let's talk about Cheryl Swoops, because oh boy, that hot take. She dropped about real talent. Never choosing Indiana is aging like milk left out in the sun. In fact, it's starting to look like one of those cold takes that ends up on compilation reels with dramatic violin music playing in the background. You know, the type "this didn't age well" written all over it, because against all odds and against Swoops, as entire thesis players are choosing Indiana not reluctantly, not as a last resort they want to be there, and why it's about Caitlin Clark.
Indiana Fever team.
They getting paid anyway?
That are like, no, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
You heard me. She's the headline act. The box office draw, the reason Indiana Fever jerseys are flying off the shelves and ticket sales are skyrocketing. Indiana isn't some forgotten struggling franchise anymore. This isn't the WNBA version of a pea party. They're building something real. And when someone like Sue Bird says, "Hey, this team is about to be a serious problem," you better believe players across the league are listening, because Sue isn't just out here handing out compliments like participation trophies. She's not on TV for shock value. When she speaks, it's because she sees something, and what she sees in Indiana isn't just potential. It's a team that's not sitting around waiting for success to magically show up. They're hunting it down.
And yeah, there's a narrative out there that Kathy made the call. All right, Kathy Engelbert. Oh, we got to make sure we get Caitlin Clark the championship. And I told you there's narrative floating. Number one, they're freaking out. Number two, the next thing you're about to hear is Caitlin Clark needs a super team to win a championship. So they're going to downgrade her status, and they're going to shit on her over that. It's already started. That's where they're going with this, folks.
Look at the moves. This isn't some Cinderella story where they're banking on Caitlin Clark to be their fairy godmother and magically fix everything with a three-pointer. They've been stacking up real pieces that make basketball sense. Every signing, every trade, every draft pick has been part of a plan, a blueprint designed to let Caitlin Clark express her talent without carrying the entire franchise on her back. Let's talk about free agency for a second, because this is where it gets juicy. Suddenly, Indiana isn't just a place players go to get some minute and pad their stats. It's a destination, a place where you can actually win, a place where you'll be playing on national TV in front of packed arenas with a fan base that's growing faster than Angel Reese's list of excuses. And most importantly, you get to play alongside a young core that's only getting better.
There's something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
That's what Sue Bird recognizes. That's why she's been loud about it. She sees what's coming, and the funniest part, a lot of people refuse to see it until it smacked them right in the face. Indiana went from being a WNBA afterthought to one of the most talked about teams in the league. And not just because of hype, not just because of flashy headlines or social media buzz, because of actual basketball reasons. Sub Bird sees the trajectory. She sees a team that's not just hoping to be great, but actually putting in the work to be great. And for anyone still doubting the Fever, still clinging to the outdated narrative that Indiana isn't a destination, well, it's time to rewrite that script.
You mean Sydney Colson is joining the Indiana Fever? What does that mean?
Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us?
But here's where it gets even more. Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.